this mostly featureless landscape, there's little cover from hostile fire. To prevail, the Marines need to be fast and aggressive.
Here we are back with another video checking out NATO's Arctic Marines. I believe this is the Finnish, Italian and Swedish Marines journey through the high north. I served 16 years in the British Army. The Arctic warfare, the amphibious assaults was down to the Royal Marines Commandos who are part of the British Royal Navy. Not really my expertise, but I'm looking forward to see what they do, what we can learn, and just watching the overall video. So check out the original video in the description. Remember, if you could like, share and subscribe, always appreciated. But let's get into it.
NATO's Marines have landed, this time in the Arctic Circle, where the nights are long and the cold never quits. Their mission, to push back a simulated attack on Norway and prove their ability to keep our people safe by defending every inch of Allied soil. But as these Marines are about to find out, the Arctic is unlike anywhere else in NATO, and it will push them to their limits. Harstad, Norway. In the bitter cold of the winter morning, Marines from the Finnish Navy's Nyland Brigade haul their gear onto the US Navy ship Gunston Hall. This will be their home as they put their skills to the test during NATO's largest collective defense drills in decades, Steadfast Defender 24. The Gunston Hall is a big ship, but that doesn't make it easier for the Finns and their bulky rucksacks.
Yeah, so I've never been on a ship. Like I said, that was down to the Marines. Went by plane or we drove somewhere. But from what I've heard, ships are extremely tight. Yes, they're rather large, but that's because they need to be. It's not to give the personnel on board space. As you can see here, trying to get through with their Bergens and all their kit is a tight squeeze. So, yeah, it doesn't look the most comfortable being on a ship.
Quarters requires a bit of multinational teamwork.
I got you.
Trying to carry a heavy Bergen is hard enough as it is, let alone through that.
It's pretty cramped. On the first impressions, we have too much stuff.
Look at that bed. Yeah, I've stayed in some really crap places in my time, so slept in similar situations to that with a worse mattress most probably. But I'm 6'3", roughly. That's quite easy to hit your head in it, and they don't look very long. Don't look like they would fit someone of my height in that. Nope.
Anchors away. For this exercise, the Gunston Hall will patrol the massive fjords of Norway's Arctic coast and help the Finnish Marines launch raids on the shore. To get there, they'll hitch a ride with their Nordic neighbors. The Swedish Amphibious Corps sent 2 CB-90 combat boats to the exercise,
nice.
Each capable of carrying more than 20 Marines.
Look at that. I did not know the ships did that at the back.
They dock in the Gunston Hall's well deck, a massive floodable compartment that allows it to carry small boats.
That's cool. And those little boats look cool as well.
Sweden's long, rugged coastline, including the more than 30,000 islands in the Stockholm archipelago.
Hey, look, this looks neat
now,
to ride.
They're learning how to apply their specialized skills to the collective defense of NATO allies.
So what's distinguishes Swedish Marine is that since we operate so dispersed, we can operate by ourselves for a long period of time in pretty harsh environments.
But what makes a Marine? Amphibious troops all over NATO take pride in being able to cope with the toughness of their job.
Well, you have to be resilient, and you have to have a strong will, a will to push yourself to the extreme and a bit further.
They work.
Question for you though, who is the best Marines out there? Is it the Royal Marine Commandos of the British Royal Navy? Is it the Finnish, Swedish, the US Marines? Comment below. I'd be interested to know who you believe tops it, but they're all as good as each other, aren't they?
In wet, often cold conditions. They have to travel light, and without the guarantee of resupply, they must think on their feet to get the job done.
You can't really travel too light in these conditions. When you're in sort of Arctic conditions, you try and, in any sort of cold weather conditions, I've been in cold weather conditions, you always want to sort of try and travel as light as possible. I especially did. I never took anything I didn't need. I took pure minimal kit. But you need a bigger, heavier DOS bag. You need extra warm kit. You need your dry kit. Make sure you've got all your cooking tools, food, water, ammunition. But that extra sort of wet kit, dry kit, warm kit and heavier DOS bag, it's hard to go light in these conditions. I've been to Norway, not for the military. I actually went to watch Swedish House Mafia. But I know how cold Norway gets, and I've been in very cold situations. So you've got to make sure you're prepared in these environments. Otherwise, the worst can happen.
To solve different tasks and when problems occur, because they will.
Look at that. Just looks brutal just
tough,
looking at it.
Sure. But in the Arctic, tough isn't enough. When the temperature drops below 20 degrees centigrade, it stops being cold and starts being dangerous. For untrained troops, it can be lethal. That's why the U.S. Marine Corps sends troops to Norway to learn winter's harsh lessons. These Marines from 1st Battalion, 2nd Marine Regiment have hacked a home out of the dense forest and deep snow near Sertamo. They sleep and wake in extreme cold. To drink, they boil snow.
Remember, don't get the yellow snow.
Just enough to survive. But later, they'll need to learn how to not just survive, but fight and win in these brutal conditions.
Do you know what I do like? I love the camo.
A large number of Marines who have never been in the snow in their life before. So as Marines, we have a hallmark of being able to fight in any climate place. And in order to do that, it just takes practice.
That's fair enough.
Grow in that proficiency through the repetition.
Can you imagine never seeing snow in your life and then you go to the Arctic carrying full kit, trying to do a tactical withdrawal or an advance on skis, and you've never seen snow before?
For Marines used to firm ground, the deep snow is a serious obstacle. Walking through it would quickly exhaust them. The only option is to glide along the surface.
Do love the kit they're wearing though. It looks alley. Oh.
Easier said than done, perhaps.
Skiing's tough to pick up.
Just learning the right ways to fall and then the best ways to get back up after you fall.
There you go.
Very important.
It's the best
The
way.
part about being in the Marine Corps and skiing is you have to ski with the main pack and your weapon. So teaching the guys now the basics without all that helps just the building block approach.
What do you guys call this camo? Really, really cool. I do like
Picking up
it.
very fast, and I'm really happy with what I'm seeing.
Out here, the Marines need a reliable source of food, fuel, and ammunition.
Americans don't go anywhere without
Can be a
food.
struggle.
What we're seeing right here is the offloading of a resupply that comes in every couple of days. So that's the biggest challenge is just the sheer amount of logistics that's required to sustain. Everything gets doubled out here, and it's significantly more complex.
The cold exhausts not just the body, but the mind as well. Eventually, your willpower breaks down, despair creeps in, and thoughts turn from accomplishing the mission to saving yourself while you still can. The Marines call this going internal.
We've all been there, I'm telling you
They rely on
that,
their
if you've been in the
greatest
military.
resource, each other.
At least for us, we just kind of joke around with each other, kind of poke and prod with each other, share stories, and the spirits up and the motivation, kind of let anyone break off.
In the Marine Corps, have you ever done anything this hard?
No, not really. I personally think this is my hardest training op I've ever done. No.
Just goes to show how tough it is.
While Norway sleeps, Finnish Marines get ready to sneak ashore on Swedish combat boats. Far from the theatrics of Hollywood, modern amphibious operations often rely on speed and stealth to succeed. That's where the Swedish Marines come in.
Nice, look at them gearing up, that's cool. I swear that was a guy from a series I've seen before.
Or CB-90 cuts through the Norwegian fjords like a knife.
Look how cool that must be to ride.
Hull that can grind against the rocky Nordic shores, and enough gun mounts to handle any threats on the beach. The CB-90 is an apex predator in its natural environment.
It's like driving a sports car. It's the best
that's well cool.
work you could imagine.
High tech that
It's
is,
built
isn't
to be durable and can go ashore and on rocky cliffs, virtually anything.
Nice. Really loving the kit they've got. Helmets are cool. Chest rigs are cool.
Fair enough. The Finnish Marines of the Naval Brigade are unique. Unlike the rest of their country's defense forces, their first language isn't Finnish, but Swedish.
Interesting. Okay. Why is that?
This means they can work hand in glove with their Swedish counterparts.
Our brigade is founded by a Swedish king. A Swedish company can come to Finland, report into the battalion commander, and 3 hours from that they can do a combined mission already.
Together, the Marines must trek through the hilly terrain to scout out a helicopter landing zone. The forest is dense and the ground is steep. It's slow going, even for expert skiers like the Finnish Marines.
The thing about Finns is we all more or less grew up on skis, but yeah, I'm a bit scared to climb the biggest hills here because it's quite different from Finland. Finland is very flat, so.
With the landing zone secured, it's time to kick off a uniquely NATO operation. An Italian helicopter lifts a Finnish snowmobile off an American warship and carries it to a clearing in Norway.
This is standard for the other helicopters are coming. 39er, this is 30.
So for those that have never served in the military, it is, when you go on a big exercise like this, it is actually really cool, especially if it's a well put together exercise like the ones early on in my career. When you got the helicopters coming in, you got the fast air jets. When Afghan was going on, you got like the Mastiffs, the Husky vehicles, you know, pretty much unlimited ammunition. The kit was getting better helmets, better day sacks. People were tailoring their kit, better sights. Like, for like a civilian looking on the outside, like, this is your job. So what are you doing? You're going to the office. These guys are pretty much in the Arctic. You got helis coming in, dropping in kit. You're on skis with a kit on your back and a weapon, helmet, powder ear defs, magazines on your chest. Like, yeah, I left, but ultimately it's most probably the coolest job you can do, isn't it? Being in the military, apart from most probably being a Formula 1 driver or something. But like, this is your job. Yeah, it's tough in cold conditions, but it is, when you're there, it is really fun and exciting, and you feel like you're doing something.
This snowmobile will make their lives much easier as they push further inland.
Well, that makes life easier to get around the snow, doesn't it?
Meanwhile, the Swedish fire control team decides to get a head start on NATO integration.
So those that don't know, Joint Tactical Air Control, okay, they're the guys like, sort of controlling the fast air, controlling the airspace around, especially for those, obviously, they will work closely with forward observers, so your sort of artillery and mortar assets, to make sure it's all deconflicted, and no one obviously accidentally gets shot down.
They meet up with the Italian Marines from the San Marco Brigade.
Yeah, the Italian ones, look at these.
And are practicing calling for artillery fire from an Italian warship.
Delta, this is Juliet uniform, fire mission.
Fortunately, the Swedes are already familiar with Alliance tactics and procedures.
Got some decent kit, these guys.
Conflict, being able to fire with different countries, just the one that is on station in that area at that time, is making us 100 times more dangerous for a possible enemy. It's always nice to hear different countries' voices on the radio and knowing that you do.
Yeah, checking out each other's kits. Look at that. Look at that. Look at
that.
that.
You don't need a pre-train, just get right into it.
That's nice.
The US Marines have come a long way, both figuratively and literally. After training in Sertimo, they've deployed to Finnmark, Norway's northernmost region, for a sort of final exam in winter warfare. Here, there are no instructors. The Marines are on their own, with miles of Norwegian wilderness before them.
Now that's their life.
Hard lessons have paid off.
The difference between us a month ago and now is night and day. People know how to take care of themselves better. They understand their daily, day-to-day routines. They understand the basics of what they need to get through day to day, which means that the battalion can focus more on being enemy-oriented rather than focusing on sustaining ourselves internally.
Being able to move in this challenging terrain is one thing. Being able to fight is quite another.
Yeah, definitely.
The deep snow slows the Marines down. And in this mostly featureless landscape, there's little cover from hostile fire. To prevail, the Marines need to be fast and aggressive.
Being able to operate in an environment like this truly makes us capable of operating in any climate and place, which provides more options for our decision makers when they need the military to respond. As these young Marines and sailors get to work side by side with the Norwegians, with the Finns, with the Swedes, their own confidence in just how good these allies are continues to grow.
In March 2024, while its Marines were deployed to Norway, Sweden made history by formally joining NATO as the alliance's 32nd ally. It was an emotional moment for the Swedes, who in joining NATO ended more than 200 years of military non-alignment.
Being part of NATO feels good. From now it's going to be a lot easier in many ways, and I hope the interoperability with the allied partners will be easier from now.
Sweden's joining NATO absolutely makes the alliance stronger. I can tell you they are highly competent, they are very skilled, and they share our values and our kind of collective ethos that goes into our operations.
The Nordic countries are now united under the banner of collective defense. At a time when European security is threatened by a major conflict, NATO's Arctic Marines must stand ready to defend the alliance, no matter the time or place.
That was really well put together. Very interesting to watch. Like I said, I never operated in sort of Arctic climates. I actually did more hot and like desert climates, Oman, Kenya, Afghan, etc. And then obviously your standard Germany, France, America, Wales. But very, very interesting to watch. Very interesting to learn about that sort of stuff. Some of the kit these guys were in, like from when I joined the army in 2006 to like where kit now, like where it is now, is like mind blowing. Like how much is advanced. I left in 2022 and it was just the new kit that was coming in was just like insane. It's advanced so much in such a short space of time. It's really going to aid and help Marines and soldiers, and it's good to see everyone working together, because most countries within NATO really couldn't sustain a war or a major war themselves, you know, Brits included. So if anything did happen, we don't know where, but say something did happen in that sort of Nordic region, then they will need their allies to sort of aid them and support them. So being able to work together, understand sort of each other's tactics, language slightly, your SOPs, and then being able to operate in those climates, because the Nordic climates, the Arctic climate is a disgusting climate and environment to work in. So if you've got that ability to be able to work together, if anything does kick off, you're going to be more efficient and better at supporting each other. But hopefully you have enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please do comment below with what your thoughts are, what you want to see next, and I'll see you soon.
And in this mostly featureless landscape, there's little cover from hostile fire. To prevail, the Marines need to be fast and aggressive.